Hi everyone, it's Bill, and I'm back with another juggling tutorial for you. I'm going to try to break down one of the most iconic three-ball juggling patterns that many jugglers want to learn. It's a pattern called Mills Mess. Now Mills Mess is really a combination of a bunch of different skills, and so what I'd like to try to get you to do is think about practicing before you try to jump right in. Practice all the things that are going to help you learn the things that make Mills Mess successful. And I'm going to give you one concept to work on throughout all of your patterns, and that is symmetry. So when I talk about symmetry, I'm really thinking about making equal throws between your right and left hand. And you can do that with simple cascade pattern like this, so that you're not throwing all out of time. You want all the balls traveling in a symmetrical way. The other nice thing about that is that your hands end up moving the least because you're making similar repetitive patterns each time when the pattern is symmetrical, left to right and top to bottom. So work on symmetry, getting all those throws to be equal. I'm going to give you three other sub tricks to work on before we jump into Mills Mess. Are you ready? I'll put them in order of easiest to learn, easiest to practice, to most difficult for me anyway. So the first one I'm going to learn is actually, or I'm going to ask you to work on, is actually a reverse cascade. Now if you notice, all the balls are traveling in a cascade such that each new throw goes under the throw that's coming in. But if I reverse that, I can make one go over the top, and if I reverse all of them, that's a reverse cascade. Now reverse cascade's a little trickier than the conventional cascade because everything is converging. So you really have to get your distance and height control down in order to do it well. But it's a cool trick. You can do all kinds of variations by throwing balls over the pattern. This one's called tennis. And the reverse cascade. So that's skill number one. Skill number two is really good for practicing symmetry, and it's a key kind of hidden skill, I think, in Mills Mess. And that is learning to carry a ball through the pattern rather than let it glide after you throw it. And the best trick, that's an example of this, is something called chops. So in a chop, you carry the ball through and release it at the end of its normal flight path. Chop, right? When you do it every time, it looks like this. It's a very cool trick on its own, and it's really hard to learn because it's fast and violent and easy to mess up. Just like that. The other thing is that it puts a premium on symmetry because the best chop pattern looks good when it's 100% symmetrical. So you'll see people going like that, and it just doesn't look as cool. If you can get big, wide swings that look the same on both sides, which I can't always do, that's when you know your chop pattern is good. Finally, maybe the most obvious sub-skill to practice is juggling a three-ball cascade with your arms crossed. So you can start by crossing them. It's usually easier to do your dominant hand under your subordinate hand. And then watch what happens. You're doing that reverse cascade in order to get it to work. And once you can do it with your dominant hand under, switch. That's harder. Right? And you can go in and out. So, reverse cascade, chops, arms crossed. Now you're ready for Mills mess. Here's how I do it. Mills mess involves crossing and uncrossing your arms, carrying a ball under the pattern, not over the pattern, and releasing it where you would normally do. And so it's really all three of those skills all combined into one. It looks like this. You can tell the more symmetrical you can make it, the better. I like to feel my shoulders on both sides getting the same amount of height. I'm going to slow that down for you, and I'm going to cut off the top of the pattern so you can watch what my hands are doing, and you can kind of see what the flight is. I think it's very confusing to watch the flight of the balls to try to understand what your hands have to do. So I've got a separate little clip I'll put in here in a second. Finally, let me show you how I get into it. You kind of notice I do one throw of the reverse cascade, cross, and make the first catch with my dominant hand of that ball that I threw over the top. So over the top, cross, catch, and now we're crossing here. Then the very next move is back across, kind of in a chop, except under, to cross over the other way. So it goes like this. If you swing a little bit, you can exaggerate that motion. Sometimes you can drop. Okay? You can tell if you're not paying attention, it's easy to not be symmetrical with your pattern. And that's where it starts to look bad. So that's Mills mess. Give it a try. Practice those three things and let me know how it works.